It's PDGA Radio with Grant Zellner and Jennifer Allen. We are gearing up for the first PDGA Major of the 2024 calendar year, talking about the United States Women's Disc Golf Championship coming from Round Rock, Texas, Austin, Texas. It's a big metropolitan area. And so today we have as our guest Krissie Fountain of Mint Discs. Krissie, I was going to give you a proper introduction with job titles and things. The problem is you have too many.
Yeah, guilty.
So
right now,
I'll
I'm
let
just
you fill in
excited.
those gaps.
Sure. Yeah, let's do it. I'm excited to talk about it and kind of talk about how we got here and just super ready for US Women's to be here in less than 2 weeks.
What's your role at Mint Discs, and how is that role sort of dovetailing into putting on the first big show of the year?
Yeah, so I kind of like what you said, I also wear a lot of hats at Mint. But kind of my big two things are taking care of our wholesale accounts that we have across the country, as well as managing the Heart of Texas tour, is basically the tour that is kind of owned and operated by Mint Discs. It was acquired from Mitch and Patty Justice in 2021. It's a series of A tiers, B tiers across Texas, and it just kind of fit perfectly. It's given me a lot of experience to be ready to take on US Women's. So yeah, event manager, wholesale account manager, that's kind of it.
And player,
And
don't forget.
And I
Yes,
was going
and
to say, let's
competitor.
not forget that. You'll be competing. So you have a very unique sort of multifaceted perspective on, well, you'll have that perspective during the week itself here in just, 6 or 7 days from when this episode drops. But you have the perspective going into the week, looking at things from the standpoint of, if I'm a player and I put on my player hat, how am I going to want this to look, or how am I going to want this to go when it comes to interacting here? So I'm excited to get a chance to talk about that, but let's give a little credit to at least one other person involved, if not several, that are going to be involved in putting on the show, including your comrade, the tournament director.
Yeah, Zach. We wouldn't be here without Zach and without Mint, obviously. Putting in a bid for US Women's was kind of one of the big projects that we took on when I first started working for Mint. He kind of approached me a couple of months into me working for them and said, hey, the major bids are coming up. What do you think about putting in a bid for US Women's? And I said, yeah, let's do it. We weren't necessarily dead set on it being US Women's. I think when we submitted our bid, we said, hey, this can kind of be interchangeable between this and Tim Selinsky's. We were kind of, we would have been really happy with either one, but we did say, US Women's is our preference. So yeah, I mean, Zach has been just the driving force behind everything. I've just kind of been trying to be there to, when he has ideas, try to what can we do to put those in motion, and just, maybe give some feedback or some input based on what I do know as a player and what I think is a good aspects of tournaments as a competitor, and also things that we've learned from running the Wildflower Tour for a year now too, which is our Texas-based women's only tour. It's given us really good experience. So kind of just taking a combination of all of those things, using all of those experiences and everything we've learned to get us ready for US Women's.
I think as a player, it definitely helps that there is a woman involved for those things when we're putting on a women's event. I know that you guys look after us. You have great, important, you're always trying to do the right thing, but sometimes we just see things a little bit differently, or they forget the little minor details, or maybe nothing was forgotten at all, but women like to put the cute little bows on things or try to make things feel special and more flat. Those are little things that you wouldn't have at some just everyone tournament. So I think having a woman in there for a little bit of insight really is going to help make this US Women's event hopefully feel more like a true women's event. And I know that you have been working on a lot of things to try to make this special and fun things to do on the side. We all felt last year when the US Women's was, so close together, that we really got to do fun things together. We got to see other women playing. And so I think a lot of us now are anticipating doing fun events with the other competitors, maybe not in our same division. So Krissie, what are some of those fun things that we have planned for this upcoming event?
Yeah, going back to US Women's last year, man, it was such an incredible event. I got to go, Zach came with me. We actually like traveled together to get a feel for, I guess kind of like what we were in for. We knew it was only going to be kind of a 6-month turnaround time, which, has been definitely a big challenge for us. I think that, there was some major advantages to kind of the venue last year of all of those courses being,
Right.
in the same facility, like you mentioned. It was just like outside of that, it was in an area where there maybe wasn't like a lot of stuff to do, like outside of playing disc golf, just it was very rural.
Right.
But the venue itself was incredible. We got to see each other. And so now we're kind of in this situation of like, okay, well, we're opposite because a lot of the courses that we're playing for this event are spread out. So we're not going to get that experience of, oh, I finished my round. I can go watch, my friend Stephanie, who's playing an FP40, like I can go finish watching her play or vice versa, or watching Des. But we're in this city that has a million things to do. There's endless amounts of entertainment. So how do we, take the disadvantage that we're at of like being in all these different courses, but still kind of give it that same feel? And so the best thing that we came up with was, hey, let's have a lot of side events that like bring all of these women together, that, might not necessarily be on the course, but that's actually a good thing, So yeah, we can kind of go through the list of some of the side events that we have. It all starts on like Monday, really. We're having a series of flex starts that are being run by one of our really like main guys in the Austin area, Jacob Beeson. He goes by Goose. He's running flex starts all week at different courses in Austin that are all fundraisers for US Women's. And the first one is like a Des Redding flex. So like the proceeds will go to her, and she'll kind of be the star of the show for that flex start. And it'll be at one of the most fun courses in Austin at Marymore Seawright. And then followed by GK Pro Skins like that night, where Des will be a part of it too. So that kicks it off on Monday. And then let's see, Wednesday, we've got the opening ceremonies. We're at a really fun place called Austin's Park and Pizza. It's kind of like a main event style place where they have, arcades and bowling and putt-putt and bumper boats and batting cages and go-karts. And it's a really incredible deal that we've worked out with them, where basically every woman who comes, every person who is their guest will get access to the buffet. They're opening up their buffet for us that night. We're getting unlimited bowling, unlimited putt-putt, and then every participant's getting a $10 like arcade card, more or less, that they can use to do whatever they want. And so it's going to be different in that, like last year, we were kind of in more of a gymnasium type setting. So we were all together, which was really cool. We got to catch up with people that we hadn't seen in a long time. And there was that sense of togetherness, and catching up and talking. So like this year, it's like, okay, we're going to have the meeting. Like, let's get all that stuff out of the way. And now let's go like play arcade games together. And like, let's, play some putt-putt, and just getting to like enjoy each other's company that way. I think that the opening ceremony and player dinner is going to be a really fun experience. Yeah. And then Thursday we've got, I don't really remember what we have on Thursday. But like Flying Colors is doing a die clinic where you can, pay $20 and you like get to do a spin die on a disc. Which will be really, really fun. And then Friday's kind of the star of the show. We're doing like a painting with a twist kind of thing. I don't know if you guys have ever done that before. But you like show up and they give you like a canvas and some paint and some paintbrushes. And we have an instructor who's basically going to be walking you through step by step how to paint this like amazing scenery. And I'm really excited for that. I think that's going to be the most fun. So you have almost 100 women signed up to come and paint on Friday night. So that's going to be a blast.
Typically wine is involved. Is this going to be true to this? I mean, we have all ages.
It's at a church, so I'm gonna have to kind of clarify what the
Catholic church.
No,
Here we go.
No, I don't know. We'll see.
Okay,
but
if you want to email us, the email address is Jennifer at no.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm just saying the wine and paint things are a big thing, and
they are a big thing.
I'm just clarifying for everyone showing up if they're expecting wine or not.
Yes. Maybe some like sparkling cider. I don't know. We'll just have to see what the rules are. Maybe we'll like
apple
do
juice
communion together.
I mean, yeah.
we'll break bread together and, do a
Exactly.
little communion. That's gonna be really fun. I'm really excited for the paint party. It's gonna be a blast. Alicia Graham is a disc golfer out of Houston, and she has hosted several of these paint nights for the women in Houston, and they always, post these pictures. They look like they're having so much fun. And in January, we had the Team Mint tryout event. I don't know if you guys heard about that, but it was basically like a C tier, where we offered, but it was also combined with like some putting league stuff too. They took like the top scorers, and those people were offered contracts for Team Mint. But what was cool about that was a lot of the existing Team Mint came to like staff that tournament and spot and volunteer and be cheerleaders for all the people who were trying out to be on the team. So we had, women from like our team women from Tennessee were here, and just our women from Houston. So we asked Alicia if she would come and do one of those paint nights for the Team Mint women. And so we did that at Stephanie Vincent's house that night. And we had it was just so much fun. We had a freaking ball. We were being silly and laughing and painting, and everybody was like, oh my God, my painting looks so bad. This is terrible. But then somehow whenever we finished it at the end, it was amazing. I can probably go get it and show y'all what I painted. And we were like, Alicia, would you be willing to do this at US Women's? I think this would be a really fun event. And she was like, yeah, let's do it. Let's go. So the paid party is going to be awesome. If you haven't signed up for it, there's still a chance. Awesome.
Well, at some point during the course of the week, we're going to have to play some disc golf.
Yeah.
At least a little bit. What can you just shed a light a little bit on the courses that are going to be in play? Just even if people maybe aren't familiar with the name of each and every course or every park, give us some idea of the texture, the characteristics of each of the properties that will be in play, and maybe even who will be playing at each of those courses.
Yeah, for sure. So Sprinkle Valley is kind of the star of the show. Nobody's really familiar with that course because it's, basically brand new. It's been in the ground and complete less than 6 months, I want to say. And there's just been, we've had so many work days where we've had the community come out and help clear the brush. And, we've had a forestry mulcher come through a bunch of times and try to get some of the big mulch that's out there down. And, I was skeptical last year that we would be able to host the FPO and the FP40 players on a course that was so new and so raw and so rough. But it's an incredible course, and I can't wait, for it to be showcased in this event. And then there's Old Settlers Park, which was where US Women's was hosted in 2011. It's been 13 long years. So we're very excited to be headed back there. And that was kind of the course that we centered the original bid around, because we didn't even know that Sprinkle Valley was going to exist whenever we submitted the bid. So we did kind of have to cushion that conversation with the Parks Department a little bit and say hey, listen, y'all are still going to be a big part of it. We've just had this opportunity to create this course, and so we've kind of had to shift things around. But Old Settlers is, it's a historic course. It's iconic. It's been around for such a long time. I'm really excited to, get back out there. And then, the two courses that are kind of in the same area-ish, that North Round Rock kind of area, are Wilco and Benbrook. Wilco, again, has been had a ton of women's events hosted. My first Texas Women's that I played back in 2015 was at Wilco. And so it just holds a really special place in our hearts. We have a really good relationship with the Parks Department there. And so it was kind of a no-brainer to integrate that one in. And then there's Benbrook, and Benbrook's kind of the new kid on the block. It just got redesigned by Mike Ols a year or two ago. It used to kind of not really be that fun of a course. And then Zan Irwin, he is the president of a local club called the Hill Country Heisers, and he just absolutely took the bull by the horns and really just led the charge on getting the course redesigned, getting it cleaned up. And the amount of work that's been put into that course is incredible, and it's so well taken care of. And so that was another reason, it's obvious that we need to have Benbrook because of all the work that the community has put in. So I think that's like 4 courses. It's kind of a lot of courses to keep up with. But then there's Wells Branch, which is where like I like to call it like the upperclassmen course because it's like the juniors and the seniors. Like, you know, they got like the littles and then like kind of the older divisions like the FP and FA 70s playing out there. And Wells Branch, like they have probably one of the most active disc golf clubs in Austin who kind of oversee that course, the Wells Branch Disc Golf Club. They also have like another club called the Flying Goombas. And yeah, they're so silly, but they're amazing. And every year they host an unsanctioned women's event called the Wells Branch Women's Open. They've had it for 4 years now, and I've played in it every year. It's like the only non-sanctioned event that I'll actually like, pay money to play in. But they go like all out. I mean, like they make us feel like queens of the entire universe when we play in that event. They have a lot of like alternate pin locations. So we'll play, you know, we play like the morning round where the pins are in one location. And then during lunch, they go and they switch all of the pin locations so that for the second round, you know, we get to play a whole different layout. And that takes a lot of work to do that in like in an hour lunch break. And they just have like the best refreshment stations and the best cheerleaders. And like, it was a no-brainer that if we put the juniors and the older women out here, like they're just going to get that experience. They're going to experience that club like really taking care of them. And we're really, really excited about that. And then Live Oak Brewing is such a complimentary course to Wells Branch. It's a little bit longer of a course, a little bit more OB. They're just compliments. So that's where that pool will be playing Wells Branch and Live Oak. And they're just really going to have great experiences at both those courses. So I'm really excited about it all.
Live Oak's been around for a very long time as well, correct?
Yeah, and Live Oak's kind of gone through a lot of iterations. It used to be like just a 13-hole course, which was much like longer of a layout. But they got a lot of feedback like from Mutas and reviews and like people just saying, hey, if this was an 18-hole course, you know, like we'd probably come out and play it more. And so finally kind of the guys who manage the course at Live Oak were like, okay, fine, like we give in. But they didn't have tee pads, which was kind of a big like sticky point. You know, it was already like a really popular course. It got a lot of foot traffic. I hosted a lot of flex starts out there. Lots of fun ace runs and stuff. But the problem was the tee pads. So when we approached them and said, hey, we want to add Live Oak Brewing into the lineup of US Women's, like the only kind of caveat is like, obviously it's a major, so we have to have tee pads. And they were like, all right, we're on it. And they like installed 18 phenomenal tee pads and they got done like a month ago. And like, to me, it's just kind of like a testament of what bringing a major to Austin is doing for our community. All of the courses that we're playing at are being left better than when this event was here. And I think that that's so important, whether it's like at Wilco, we're having, you know, like an alternate pin on one of the holes to make the flow better, you know, and like that will be something that can be a permanent option in the future. You know, Live Oak getting the tee pads. Wells Branch is playing 3 temporary courses that are now, or temporary holes that are now going to be turned into permanent holes. And so just, you know, like seeing the course improvements that are happening, like because of US Women's and knowing that our community is going to get to like reap those rewards, like that's one of the more like most rewarding feelings, almost as much as like, hey, we're going to host a major here. And that's pretty cool. Yeah. So I love that.
And I personally have been over to where the FPO and FP40 are playing, and it's a super cool venue, a little further south than some of the other courses, but really cool venue. It's there at a brewery. Are they going to be doing anything special there, or will it be like afterwards we're heading back up to where some of the other courses are?
No, I mean, Sprinkle Valley is kind of like the hub. I mean, check-in is going to happen on Wednesday at Sprinkle Valley. Basically they have like they call it like the family room. It's kind of a room like off of the tap room. Yeah. And so that's where check-in will be. I mean, that's where our vendor village is going to be. We'll have, we'll have like vendors who are going to be set up all week. And then we'll also have like additional vendors who come in for the Fly Mart just to set up for Saturday night. But we're bringing in additional food trucks who will be there all week. So that really is like the hub for US Women's this year. Yeah, very
Nice.
thankful to Austin Beer Works for letting us kind of take over for a week.
So everybody gets to come down and join us down there.
Yes, that's exactly the plan. That's
Nice.
yeah.
We'll have a permanent setup there all week with the PDGA. We've got something really special that's going to be a part of our area. I'm debating whether or not I should reveal it. I'm thinking I'll just leave it for now, as it's going to be something really cool that I have never seen at a disc golf event, in terms of, we'll call it an attraction. We'll call it something that you can participate in as you're walking by, maybe on your way to or from a tee time, or on your way to or from spectating, if you're playing in another division, and then running over there to see the divisions in play at that spot. But it's definitely going to be a lot of fun. I'm excited about that. I'm excited about the merch that's going to be available from not only us at the PDGA, but from a lot of different entities. It's always great when someone like a Mint Discs is so heavily involved in putting on the show, because they know what they're doing, right? And so, yeah, I have a feeling that my personal souvenir budget for the first half or so of 2024 might not make it home from Austin. And I'm kind of okay with that, to be perfectly honest with you.
I think that one of the big things that we wanted to kind of encompass in US Women's this year is we really wanted to get all of the manufacturers involved as much as they wanted to be, even though like Mint Discs might be, sure, the presenting sponsor, the player packs are going to include Discraft discs and Innova discs and MVP discs. And so we kind of like worked out a deal with those three major players. Were like, hey, if you will sponsor this event, then we're going to make Wilco, like, the US Women, this is like the Wilco course, the Wilco course sponsored by Discraft or whatever. And so we're kind of letting other manufacturers, kind of have a big role in this. And I just love that. I love that we're, getting everyone involved, just to make this the best experience for all of our women.
I think a lot of us as players have felt like, for the last several years, as we were seeing growth and changes made and trying to bring in major sponsorships to get us to the next level. Now that we have all these new players, now we got to get the events to another level. I think we have to work together. And, that's been tossed around, for the last year or more, of why does it have to be one title sponsor? Why can't this event be hosted and money brought in by every manufacturer? We all have players there. So I think that's something that has been talked about, and hopefully, you guys putting it on, this will be a new thing that we start seeing more and more.
Yeah, Mint's kind of, I guess I would consider us at this point, like, Mint's basically, I think, 7 years into its existence. I would say we're like a good mid-size manufacturer at this point. I think a lot of people know about us. Having Mason and Des has really like increased like our awareness around the country. While like, sure, it was probably doable for us to be the title sponsor and to be like all the spotlight on Mint, like, is that really what we want? Exactly. We can elevate this event so much by having the major players, Innova, Discraft, MVP, Elevation Discs is involved. Just make it that much better for everyone. So I think that's a really cool thing. And like you said, I hope that kind of, keeps on rolling into future majors.
Jennifer, as a player who has been to so many events in your career, what are you most looking forward to about this event a week from now?
I think we kind of already touched on it, is getting to be around so many other women. This is our one chance a year. All the other events, yeah, there's women there, but there's also men, and no offense, but it's just a different feeling when you show up and there's 400 women of all ages, from 8-year-old to 80-year-olds competing in this tournament. And that's just not something we get, but one time a year. So I think it's a very special feeling. And if you love the game and are here because of that, and getting to meet people from all over the world, and this may be the one time a year that international players or players from across the country, from one side, West Coast to East Coast, this is when they get to meet their friend back up from the last year that they met him at a US Women's. So I just think it's a very special event, not only that we get to play golf, but that we get to be around other women who also love the game. So to me, that's just the most special part about it.
I have to confess, one of my favorite things about the event, now that I've been at several of them and had a chance to compare it to others, it actually is a guy thing, but I think you'll forgive me. It's the dads that caddy for the junior golfers.
Yep.
I have so much fun watching that interaction. I have a daughter myself, but she's not a disc golfer. I have so much fun watching that interaction and then chatting with them after and listening to them describe the round as though they're some kind of broadcaster and they're giving me the play-by-play of what just happened out there. And then on hole 13, and then she threw this and it went around like this. And it is so much fun watching that particular situation unfolding there before your eyes. And it's fun seeing other versions of that, such as when there are, say, masters level players and they're playing and they're together and they're talking each other up. And then some of them come over to, say, a junior round. If their round ends early enough, they jump over to the other course and they watch juniors, or maybe they show up at the FPO or the FP40 rounds that tend to be some of the later tee times typically. And so they're finishing later. So they have enough time to get over and watch at least the last few holes. And you see, so many disc golf bags on the backs of players of all ages standing in the gallery, now cheering on just another sort of subset of who they are. It's really, really, it's kind of a joy bomb, really, to just sit there and observe that from the side.
That's just something you don't see at any other event. Like, after we get done playing at, Throw Pink, USWDGC, or the World Championships, you're exhausted. You go, you put your bag up, and you may go watch the very last day to see who wins.
Right.
But other than that, as a player, very rarely do we go out and immediately jump in as a spectator. So that is, I think, what makes this event so special. And I hope, even though we're spread out, we can still do that. I'm guessing what, Krissie, maybe like 30 minutes apart for most of the courses?
Yeah, that's about right. And I think with the way that the pools are shaping up, the tee times for the other pools will be early enough that, when most of them finish their rounds, they'll get to come over to Sprinkle Valley and get to watch, their FPO idols or something like that. Get to see. I get to watch Kristen or Owen or whoever their favorite players may be. So I'm very excited. And one thing I wanted to speak to, Graham was talking about, like seeing the dads caddy for their daughters. One of the observations that we made at US Women's last year was that the FPO players, maybe the FP40 players too, I'm not sure, Jenny, you might have to confirm, kind of were like the only divisions to get caddy bibs for their caddies. But we were seeing like all the dads walking around with their daughters, and immediately me and Zach were like, okay, we're putting this on our list. We're going to be super adamant with the PDGA. We want every single player to get a caddy bib. Like, we want to see those dads walking around with a caddy bib for their daughters, which will just make the experience like that much like more fun and more memorable for them. So the PDGA
was a great souvenir.
It is a great souvenir. And I'm so happy the PDGA, I mean, like, no questions asked. They were like, that's phenomenal. Like, yes. So every player will be getting a caddy bib as part of their player pack this year. I think that's amazing.
Awesome.
That is the
Where
best.
does everything wrap up? So is everything, where's the award ceremony at? Where are we ending this big show?
I mean, pretty much like for each division, it'll be whatever course like they're kind of finishing at for their divisions. Awards will come in as the divisions finish. But kind of like the big closing ceremonies will happen at Sprinkle Valley. Yeah, on Sunday. So that's kind of the plan for that. It's just, it's hard with timing to get everybody together. And I think after 4 days of playing and of like, competing and playing, I should say, like playing for fun, people are going to be kind of like, all right, we're ready to, if they come out of Sprinkle Valley, obviously we'll love to have them. But we understand, it's the end of a long week. So,
and they may have to travel back home
with your course and get on your way.
Yeah. Work and school on Mondays for some people, so that's understandable.
Yeah, and I know like the timing of US Women's is a little bit strange this year. You know, it makes sense logistically. Hey, all PDGA is already here, the Pro Tour is already here, all of our assets, like, you know, let's fit it in. But it is a quick turnaround time. I mean, our last US Women's was just in September. So you know, hopefully everybody is understanding and like kind of compassionate of like kind of how this is fitting in this year. And like for me personally, I feel like, you know, we're, you know, for all the touring pros, for all of you guys, it's the beginning of the season. Like y'all are fresh and ready to go. And I felt like maybe at last year's FPO or at last year's US Women's, it was getting towards the end of the season and there was like a little bit of burnout and a little bit of like, hey, we've been on the road for so long. But like this year we get like everybody when they're fresh and they're like excited for a new season and, you know, the excitement's there. So I'm just kind of trying to take that mindset for sure.
Well, as we land this plane, I know that you all have done a great job with your social media, keeping people updated, a lot of fun things popping up on social media as well. So if you're listening right now and you're not following the U.S. Women's social media channels, you definitely need to be doing that. On that note, though, when it comes to coverage of the event next week, there are more specifics to come, but I do know, of course, that the Disc Golf Network will be covering the FPO division just as they normally would for any major events. So you're going to be able to get your coverage on that if you're so inclined. There's also going to be provided by the PDGA and others some post-produced coverage of several different divisions, FP40 being one of those, but we're going to spread the love around just a little bit and get some other groups on camera, maybe even one or two that don't normally get the chance to be on camera. So I think that's a really fun thing to do. I love it when I get a chance to do commentary for those other groups too. So that's always a treat. But there are going to be multiple opportunities to at least feel like you're a part of the show if you can't get down to the Austin, Texas area and be at the show. So definitely be watching both the U.S. Women's social channels and, of course, the PDGA's social channels for information on how you can watch when we get just a little bit closer to the event. But we're getting, you know, pretty close right now. We're less than a week away, and it's going to be a blast. Does anybody here have any final thoughts? Because we're all so busy. It's dark outside. This is the only way we could fit in our own conversation. So final thoughts before we let everyone go?
Jen, you can go first.
Okay. I'm just, like we just said, I'm excited for all the women to get here. I know every age division is excited. I mean, this is probably if you're 8, 10, 12 years old, like they've probably are having trouble sleeping and already have their bags packed. I personally know a lot of the older age protected women that I've been planning and talking about this for weeks. So I think everyone's just really excited to get this week going. And so pack your bags, get things ready, and let's just have an incredible week together.
Yeah, definitely. And I think for me, you know, I just want to extend a few thank yous. You know, obviously I want to thank the PDGA for awarding us this major. I mean, that like is mind blowing. You know, thank you guys for giving us this opportunity to host this major, having faith in us that we'll do a good job. You know, I want to thank Austin Beer Works again for, you know, having this vision when they acquired the property that is now Sprinkle Valley, and immediately coming to Mint and wanting this partnership. You know, if it wasn't for them, like who knows where we would be right now. You know, and just thank you to Zach for like trusting me and bringing me on board to kind of help with this process. And, you know, I'm just excited. I think that there will be a woman's touch this year. And I hope that that is noticeable and appreciated by all of our competitors. I can't wait.
The United States Women's Disc Golf Championship, the 2024 edition, barely a week away. I hope we get to see you there. And I know Jennifer and Krissie, I'll see you there.